Okay, hello. This video will focus about the discussion on gross estate. Okay, so here is the basic formula for the computation of estate tax. It is simply computed as gross estate less as allowable deductions, which will give us the net estate subject to tax. So this amount, the net estate subject to tax, will be multiplied by the tax rate of 6%. So this video is focused on the computation or the composition of gross estate. Before we delve on the composition of gross estate, we first need to know the classification of decedents. We know that there are four types of taxpayers: the resident citizen, non-resident citizen, resident alien, and non-resident alien. For estate tax purposes, we have two primary classifications: the resident or citizen and the non-resident alien. When we talk about resident, it can either be an alien or a citizen, or alien or not, and citizen, it can be a resident or not. And of course, that non-resident alien is a foreigner not living in the Philippines. Okay, so residents and citizens have taxable estates for properties within and without the Philippines, and non-resident aliens have taxable estates within the Philippines. If the problem is silent, it is assumed to be a resident or citizen. Okay, now the composition of the gross estate of a decedent can be broadly classified as properties that are physically present and identifiable in the estate. Yung mga nakikita talaga natin na properties, na iwan na properties ng decedent, and properties that are not physically present in the estate, also known as the decedent's interest, yung hindi pa natatanggap or mga intangible assets ng ating decedent. So here is a table that shows if a property of a decedent is taxable or not. So sa first column, we will see the classifications of properties into real properties, tangible, intangible, within and without. Here is a column for resident or citizen, identifying if those properties are taxable or not. We also have a column for non-resident aliens, for no reciprocity, ibig sabihin walang exemption ang Philippines or Filipino sa bansa nila. And if with reciprocity, ibig sabihin exempted ang Filipino sa bansa nila. Okay, so we will see sa resident citizen, kahit anong, or resident or citizen, kahit anong klaseng properties, yun ay magkakaroon ng taxable yung kanilang estate. For non-resident alien and no reciprocity, with no reciprocity, of course, taxable lang sila sa mga properties within the Philippines pag walang reciprocity. However, for non-resident aliens with reciprocity, taxable sila for properties within the Philippines for real properties and tangible personal properties. However, sa intangible personal properties, hindi sila magiging taxable. So, ang pinaka-difference lang talaga is the treatment of intangible personal properties. So, ulitin natin, kapag resident or citizen, taxable lahat. Pag non-resident alien, general rule, taxable for properties within the Philippines. However, pag with reciprocity, hindi taxable ang intangible personal properties. Okay, let's talk about Jack, a resident and citizen of a foreign country, died leaving real properties to Jill, which are located in that country, and shares of stock of a domestic corporation in the Philippines. Will these properties be included in the gross estate of Jack and therefore subject to estate tax in the Philippines? Okay, the answer, Jack, being a non-resident alien, is taxable on properties situated in the Philippines only. Since the real properties are situated in a foreign country, they are not included in the gross estate and therefore not taxable. The shares of stock of a domestic corporation are not taxable in the Philippines if the foreign country does not impose estate tax of any character or intangible properties owned by Filipinos and which are situated in that foreign country. Otherwise, such transfer shall be included in the gross estate of Jack and therefore subject to estate tax in the Philippines. So this is the case of a non-resident alien with or without reciprocity, as the case may be. Okay, our next case is about Philip, a resident and citizen of a foreign country, again alien siya ulit, died leaving real properties to Pilar which are located in that foreign country and shares of stock of a domestic corporation in the Philippines. At the time of his death, his country imposes transfer taxes on donations of intangible personal properties located in that country. However, that same tax law grants tax exemption on intangibles owned by Philippines therein. So this is a case of a non-resident alien with reciprocity. Okay? So will the transfer be included in the gross estate of Philip and therefore subject to estate tax in the Philippines? Okay, the answer is no, because the law of his country allows exemption on intangible personal properties owned by Filipinos in that country. So again, this is a case of a non-resident alien with reciprocity, thereby exempting the intangible assets from estate tax. Here is the list of intangible properties considered to be located in the Philippines. First, any franchise that must be exercised in the Philippines, shares, obligations, or bonds issued by any corporation or sociedad anómina organized or constituted in the Philippines in accordance with its laws. So kahit mga organization, mga golf clubs, memberships, kasama po sila sa intangible properties located in the Philippines. Shares, obligations, or bonds issued by a foreign corporation wherein 85% of the business operations are located in the Philippines, as well as shares, obligations, and bonds of foreign corporation which have acquired a business situs in the Philippines. And of course, shares or rights of any partnership, business, or industry established in the Philippines. So these are commonly mga intangible assets which are exercisable in the Philippines. Another composition of the gross estate is what we call the properties not physically present in the estate. It was previously discussed. However, isa natin ulit. Ayan, first, transfers in contemplation of death. So, kung tinransfer mo yung property mo because, ayan, you are contemplating death, it will also be part of your gross estate subject to estate tax. Pangalawa, revocable transfer. Tinransfer mo sa ibang tao, pero pwede mong bawiin anytime. Those are revocable transfers and still included in your gross estate. Third, transfers under the general power of appointment. Pwedeng ipasa kahit kanino. Proceeds of life insurance with revocable beneficiary. Kasi parang nasa control pa rin naman nung decedent yung proceeds of life insurance. Interest accruing to the decedent at the time of death. Kung meron siyang mga interest receivable, mga shares sa corporations, or shares sa profits ng corporations, kasama pa din. Claims against insolvent persons kung nagpahiram ka sa isang tao tapos na-declare that they are bankrupt, kasali pa din po sa computation ng gross estate. Transfers for insufficient consideration are likewise included in gross estate. And retirement and separation pay received under Republic Act number 4917. So shown here is the comprehensive formula for the computation of gross taxable estate. So we can see that the properties are classified into two. First, properties physically present at the time of death, which covers real properties, personal properties, and intangible personal properties. and properties not physically present at the time of death, alike the transfers in contemplation of death, revocable transfers, transfers under general power of appointment, proceeds of life with revocable beneficiary, interests accruing to the decedent at the time of death, claims against insolvent persons, transfers for insufficient consideration, and retirement and separation pay under RA 4917. Ayan. So, importante na maklasify natin to kasi, of course, dito sa not physically present, mas madami silang criteria. Kasi syempre yung physically present, madali nang ma-identify na kasama talaga siya sa properties na naiwan ng decedent. However, for properties not physically present, there are additional considerations. Okay, let's look at some illustrations. Charito Bigaykaya, the owner of Midjet Merchandising, died on August 15 of the taxable year with various claims against several debtors. Dunining Kulang, one of the debtors, has an outstanding balance of 250,000 pesos and was later found to be insolvent by a competent court. Will the 250,000 pesos receivable from an insolvent debtor be included as part of the gross estate? Yes, the total amount of the receivable should be included as part of the gross estate of the decedent and not only the 250,000 claims against the insolvent person. However, the 250,000 claim is an allowable deduction against the gross estate. So, kasali siya sa gross estate, pero ibabawas din naman ulit. Kasama siya sa allowable deductions. Hindi naman kasi pwede na i-offset natin yung dalawa kasi mawawala na yung audit trail. Ibig sabihin na yung offset, hindi mo ilalagay sa gross estate, hindi mo din ilalagay sa deductions. Hindi naman pwede na ilalagay mo lang sa deductions. Or hindi din pwede na hindi na siya kasama sa gross estate tapos hindi rin kasama sa deductions. So let's just for transparency and audit trail purposes, ipe-present natin silang dalawa. Sa gross estate and sa deduction. Next is the case of Amado Salapi. On August 2 of the current taxable year, Amado Salapi transferred a townhouse with a fair market value of 6 million to his daughter for a cash payment of 1.5 million. The property was acquired by Amado 5 years ago at a total cost of 1.5 million. 2 years later, Reggie died because of an ailment, and the prevailing market value of the property transferred was 6.3 million. So our question is, what is the amount to be included as part of the gross estate of the decedent? Okay, so the transfer is properly classified as a transfer in contemplation of death with insufficient consideration. The amount to be included as part of the gross taxable estate will be the excess of the fair market value at the time of death over the payment made. So we will compute for the difference between fair market value at the time of death, which is 6.3 million, and the payment made of 1.5 million. So the amount to be included as part of the gross estate is 4.8 million. Next, Maxim, an employee of a flower processing company for 25 years, died on February 1. He received 1.2 million from the employer's private retirement plan on account of his death. Will the benefits received by the deceased employee be included as part of the gross estate? Yes, the whole amount of benefits shall be included as part of the gross estate and at the same time will also be part of the allowable deductions against the gross estate. So those are the composition of the gross estate. However, there are items which are considered to be exempted from estate tax. First, the merger of the usufruct in the owner of the naked title. So, minsan kasi kapag yung pamana, sa isang tao pinapasa yung titulo, pero sa isang tao na-assign yung pag-manage ng property. So, in case namatay yung isa dun sa dalawang pinagmanahan, magkakaroon na ng tinatawag na merger of the usufruct, which is the right to manage or use as an asset, and owner of the naked title. Iisang tao na lang yung magmamanage and yung nalipatan ng titulo. Yun yung tinatawag na merger of the usufruct in the owner of the naked title. In that case, exempted siya sa estate tax. Second, the transmission or delivery of an inheritance or legacy by the fiduciary heir or legatee to the fideicommissary. So, ito yung na-transfer, naipamana na sa isang tao, tapos yung taong yon nung namatay siya, pinamana niya ulit. Yung second na pagpapamana, hindi na siya kasama sa estate tax. It's similar to the third case, which is the transmission from the first heir, legatee, or donee in favor of another beneficiary in accordance with the desire of the predecessor. So kapag pangalawang beses nang naipamana o na-transfer yung property, exempted na siya sa estate tax. Kasi nagbayad na ng estate tax dati pa, so parang madodoble na. Okay po? So, fourth, all bequests, devices, legacies, or transfers to social welfare, cultural, and charitable institutions. The criteria is no part of the net income of which inures to the benefit of any individual and not more than 30% shall be used for administration purposes. Yan. Exempted po yan sa estate tax. Let's look at some illustrations. Ruel executed his last will and testament, stating that in the event of his death, the 10-hectare Bangus fish pond located at Ligwasan Marsh, valued at 8 million, shall be inherited by his two children as follows. Arthur, the eldest son, shall inherit the usufruct of the property. So, ibig sabihin, si Arthur yung magmamanage, yung mga binentang bangus sa kanya mapupunta, yung pinagbentahan. And si Benji, the youngest son, shall inherit the naked title of the property. Si Arthur man yung magmamanage and magkokolekt ng benta, yung titulo, ipapangalan kay Benji. 6 months after the execution of the will, Ruel died and 8 years later, Arthur likewise died. So ano ba ang mangyayari dito sa properties ni Ruel? Upon the death of Ruel, the 8 million property, assuming the same amount at the time of death, will be included as part of his gross estate. Consequently, Arthur, as the usufructuary, will enjoy the fruits of the property. Yun nga, yung kapag nabenta yung mga bangus. While Benji will be the holder of the naked title. Upon the death of Arthur 8 years later, the rights of privileges enjoyed by him on the fruits of the property will be transferred to Benji. Ito na yung situation na sinasabi natin there is a merger of the usufruct and the owner of the naked title. So, yung merger na yon is not taxable. It is not included in the gross estate. Exempted siya. Okay po. Our next case is about Demetrio. On September 1 of the current taxable year, Demetrio executed his will stating that upon his death, the ownership of his 4 million apartment will be transferred to his daughter Melanie as the first heir. He provided further that upon the death of Melanie, the property will be transferred to his granddaughter Susan. A year after the execution of the will, the testator died of a heart attack. What is the effect of the transfer in relation to estate tax? Okay, so upon the death of Demetrio, the property transferred to his daughter Melanie will be included as part of the gross estate and subject to estate tax. However, on the transfer of property from Melanie, si Melanie yung tinatawag natin na fiduciary heir, to Susan, the fideicommissary heir, is not subject to estate tax. So, ito yung sinasabi natin kanina, pag second time na na-transfer, exempted na siya sa estate tax. Okay, so provided na na-meet nila yung degree of collateral relationship na kailangan para ma-exempt sa estate tax. Next case, we have Ben. Ben died testate, leaving his properties to his two children, Raquel and Helen. 2 years later, Raquel died and the properties inherited from Ben were transferred to Helen. So ano daw ba ang epekto sa estate tax? The properties transferred from Ben to his two children shall be included as part of his gross estate, but the properties inherited by Raquel from her father, the predecessor decedent, and later transferred to Helen on account of her death are not subject to estate tax. So that's all for the gross estate. Thank you.